The protagonist, Ilara, a young scholar driven by her relentless pursuit of forgotten knowledge, stumbles upon the ancient whispered legend of the Library of the Whispering Skull. In a hidden corner of the Grand Library, she discovers a dusty yet strangely alluring tome, its dark leather cover worn, as though it had witnessed centuries of time. As Ilara brushes away the cobwebs, a low hum vibrates from within the book. The whispering grows louder, its voices calling her name, as if the library itself had been waiting for her arrival. With trembling fingers, she opens the book, revealing pages etched in an ancient script that seems to shift and writhe before her eyes. Ilara is captivated by its haunting allure, but she knows this is no ordinary discovery. The first line of the book reads, "The knowledge within is your fate to bear." A chill runs down her spine, and the weight of destiny falls heavily upon her. Ilara's heart races as she feels the weight of the book in her hands. The whispers grow more distinct now, not just audible but almost tangible, as if they are echoing within her mind. She hesitates, unsure whether to continue. The librarian's words linger in her thoughts, warning her of the dangers hidden within these pages. "The knowledge you seek is not freely given," the librarian had said, "and it comes with a price." As the whispers intensify, Ilara makes a decision. She will proceed, no matter the cost. Her fingers turn the first page, and the air around her thickens. A low rumble shakes the very foundation of the library. In that instant, Ilara knows she has crossed a threshold from which there is no return. As the first page flips, an ancient voice echoes from the book. It speaks a language Ilara cannot understand, but the meaning is clear. This is a language of the past, a forgotten tongue meant only for those who seek forbidden truths. The whispers in her mind grow louder, forming words that beg her to read more, urging her forward. She tries to resist, but the power of the book grips her, forcing her to turn another page. A strange vision fills her mind, a skull, grinning wickedly, its hollow eyes staring deep into her soul. "You cannot escape," the voice intones. "This knowledge is your fate." Ilara shudders, her resolve wavering, yet she knows she must press on. There is something in this book that can change her life forever. The skull's image fades, replaced by more symbols, cryptic and indecipherable, moving across the page. But now Ilara understands, the book is more than just a collection of stories or knowledge. It is alive. Each symbol pulses with an ancient energy, pulling her in deeper. She feels her mind expanding, her body growing heavier with the weight of the words. The hum grows to a deafening crescendo, and in a moment of clarity, Ilara realizes that this is a test of her resolve, of her willingness to confront the unknown. Yet, just as she steels herself to turn another page, a cold voice whispers directly in her ear, "Do you truly wish to know what lies within?" A chill runs down her spine, but she does not answer. She turns the page again. Ilara turns the final page, and the whispers cease. The room falls silent, but the weight of the moment lingers in the air. A final sentence is etched on the last page, "The knowledge within is your fate to bear." The words resonate in her mind, as if they are being carved into her very soul. For the first time, Ilara feels a deep, unsettling truth. She is bound to the library and its secrets. As she closes the book, the shadows around her seem to grow darker, and she senses an unseen presence moving just beyond the edges of the room. The library is no longer just a place of knowledge, it has become a living entity, and Ilara's presence has awakened something ancient. She knows that she cannot leave, not now, not ever. The whispers of the Library of the Whispering Skulls have not ceased, and neither have the weight of Ilara's growing unease. The knowledge she sought is now a burden, the weight of it pressing down on her as she struggles to understand its meaning. The tome's warnings echo in her mind. Each word, each phrase, feels like a living thing gnawing at her thoughts. Days pass, and she spends every waking moment attempting to decipher its contents, her sanity tested by the cryptic riddles and the increasing intensity of the whispers. But every answer seems to lead to another question. The line between truth and madness blurs, and Elara starts to wonder if she has made a grave mistake. Her once sharp intellect now feels dull, her clarity clouded by the dark allure of the book. The more she learns, the less she understands, and with every page she turns, the deeper she sinks into the abyss of her own mind. She knows she must stop. But she can't. The pull is too strong. She is trapped, bound by her own thirst for knowledge. Elara's attempts to escape the book's pull become more frantic with each passing day. As she paces the room, her fingers hover over the pages of the tome, but she dares not turn them. The whispers, which had once been distant and enigmatic, now seem like commands, urging her to read, to learn, to delve deeper. They feel like they are inside her mind, twisting her thoughts, poisoning her every move. A sudden flash of insight strikes her. The book is not just a source of knowledge, it is a test, a trial to see how far she is willing to go. It knows her deepest fears, her darkest desires. It is feeding off her vulnerability, growing stronger with each moment she spends within its grasp. The realization hits her like a blow to the chest. The book is alive, and the more she learns, the more it controls her. The struggle between knowledge and madness, between control and surrender, has begun. She knows there is no turning back. The next few nights are filled with strange dreams. Elara is no longer sure where the waking world ends, and where the visions begin. The book's influence has spread beyond the pages. It now invades her dreams. She sees images of cryptic symbols, swirling and shifting in patterns she cannot comprehend. Faces of forgotten ancestors stare at her from the shadows, their eyes hollow, as if they know something she does not. But there is one face that always stands out, a grinning skull, much like the one she saw in the vision earlier. It follows her in her dreams, beckoning her deeper into the library's labyrinth. "You are one of us now," it whispers. The library chooses its own. Elara wakes in a cold sweat, heart pounding, but the whispers do not cease. They continue to call to her, pulling her toward an inevitable truth. She cannot escape it. The library has claimed her, and she must accept that her fate is now bound to its secrets. After days of sleepless nights, Elara can no longer distinguish reality from the dreams induced by the book. The boundaries blur, and the once vibrant world outside the library seems distant and foreign. She tries to focus, but the whispers grow louder, more insistent. They now speak in a language she understands, begging her to turn the final pages. The book's power over her mind is undeniable. It has awakened something within her, a hidden desire for the knowledge it holds. But she knows that continuing to read will only drag her further into madness. The weight of her internal conflict grows heavier. She can almost hear the book speaking directly to her soul, telling her that there is only one way to escape: to surrender completely, to embrace the path of eternal knowledge and unending torment. Elara stares at the book, trembling, knowing that the decision she makes now will determine her future, whether she remains a slave to its power, or whether she fights to break free. In the silence that follows, Elara makes her choice. She closes the book, for the first time in days, and places it on the table with trembling hands. She has decided to walk away, to release herself from its grasp. But as she steps back, she feels a shift in the air, an oppressive weight settling over her shoulders. The shadows in the room seem to move, swirling in response to her action. The book's whispers become louder, more desperate, as if it knows that she is trying to break free. The room seems to grow colder, and a distant voice echoes in her mind. "You cannot escape. Once the library claims you, you are its forever." Elara's heart races, panic creeping up her spine, but she remains resolute. She must escape, no matter the cost. As the whispers reach a deafening crescendo, Elara takes a deep breath and turns her back on the book, walking toward the door. The library, however, has other plans. Elara's resolve to break free from the book is tested when an unexpected visitor enters the library. The librarian, an enigmatic figure with an ageless face, emerges from the shadows, his eyes filled with knowing intensity. He had remained distant, watching from afar, but now his presence seems like a force meant to guide her. "You cannot simply close the book, Elara," he says in a voice that echoes with ancient wisdom. "The library chooses its own, and you are no exception." The librarian's words strike Elara like a physical blow. He reveals a truth that shakes her to her core. The book has not only chosen her, but it has been waiting for her all along. She is part of a long line of scholars destined to uncover its secrets, and her connection to it runs deeper than she could have ever imagined. The realization leaves her breathless. This was no accident. Her journey here was part of something far greater, something woven into the very fabric of her being. The librarian steps forward, revealing more of the truth behind the library's creation. This place was built long ago, by an ancient civilization that sought to preserve all knowledge, but also to guard against its misuse, he explains. "You, Elara, are descended from those who once guarded these secrets. You have been brought here not by chance but by bloodline." The weight of his words sinks into Elara's chest. She is no longer just a scholar, she is a part of legacy that stretches back centuries. The library, with its endless corridors of forgotten knowledge, is now hers to protect. But the revelation comes with a heavy price. The librarian warns her that to embrace this responsibility is to surrender everything else: her freedom, her past, and the possibility of ever returning to a normal life. Elara's heart aches as she grapples with the enormity of her new reality. She was always seeking knowledge, but now she must decide if she is ready to pay the cost. As the librarian speaks, Elara's thoughts race. The gravity of his words begins to settle in, and the reality of her situation becomes clearer. Her bloodline has always been tied to the library, and now she must protect its secrets from those who would misuse them. She feels both honored and terrified. The weight of centuries-old responsibility presses down on her shoulders, and a part of her longs to flee, to return to the simplicity of her former life. But the other part of her, her curiosity, her thirst for knowledge, compels her to stay, to delve deeper into the mysteries of the book and the library itself. As she contemplates her next move, the librarian's gaze softens, and he speaks again, more quietly this time. "The choice is yours, Elara. The library will wait. But remember, once you begin this journey, there is no turning back." His words resonate in her soul, and for the first time since discovering the book, Elara is torn. She must now choose between her past and her future, between the comfort of the known and the allure of forbidden knowledge. Elara's struggle reaches its peak as she finally confronts the truth of her bloodline. The librarian reveals that her ancestors were the original keepers of the book's secrets, tasked with protecting its power from those who would seek to exploit it. But over time, the line of guardians grew weaker, and the knowledge within the library became more dangerous. Elara is the last in the line, and it is now her duty to safeguard the library's secrets at all costs. The weight of this responsibility threatens to crush her. She is no longer simply a scholar, she is the last guardian, the only one capable of preventing the ancient knowledge from falling into the wrong hands. But as the librarian's words sink in, Elara realizes the horrifying truth. To protect the library is to become a part of it, to lose herself to its endless depths. She is faced with an impossible choice: become the library's guardian and lose her identity, or abandon it and risk the knowledge falling into chaos. Elara stands at the precipice of her destiny, torn between the call of knowledge and the desire for freedom. Her hand hovers over the book, her heart pounding in her chest. The whispers grow louder, more insistent, urging her to make her choice. The librarian's voice echoes in her mind. "Once you accept the library's calling, there is no going back. Your future will be bound to these walls forever." Elara's breath catches in her throat as she struggles to find the courage to decide. The choice seems impossible. How can she abandon the knowledge she has spent her life seeking? And yet, how can she embrace a fate that will cost her everything? The whispers seem to answer her unspoken question. "You will become one with the library, Elara. Forever." With a final breath, Elara places her hand on the book, knowing that whatever happens next, her life will never be the same. Elara has accepted the library's call, but the burden of her new role is far heavier than she anticipated. The once familiar shelves now seem alien, the endless corridors of books looming like a labyrinth that she must navigate to uncover the truth of her destiny. Each new room she enters reveals deeper, darker secrets, arcane symbols etched into the walls, whispers that tug at her sanity, and ancient texts that seem to pulsate with hidden power. She feels as though she's being watched at every turn, the library's presence surrounding her like a living entity. But Ilara is resolute. She must understand the full extent of her power and the role she is destined to play. She searches frantically for answers, combing through ancient scrolls and tomes, but the more she learns, the more questions arise. It seems as though the knowledge she seeks is just out of reach, always a step beyond her grasp. In the midst of this turmoil, Ilara realizes that the library is testing her, forcing her to prove herself worthy of the secrets it holds. Days turn into weeks, and Ilara grows increasingly obsessed with the quest for knowledge. The more she discovers about her ancestors, the deeper her understanding of the library's true nature becomes. The library, she learns, was not only a repository of forgotten knowledge, it was a vessel designed to contain unimaginable power. But there is a catch. The power of the library is bound to the guardian, and as Ilara delves deeper into the texts, she begins to feel the consequences of her choice. The power is not a gift, it is a curse. The whispers that once beckoned her are now louder, more insistent, clawing at her mind with every waking moment. She can no longer distinguish where her own thoughts end and where the library's influence begins. The lines between guardian and prisoner blur, and Ilara realizes that the more she unravels, the less control she has over herself. She is not simply a keeper of knowledge, she is now bound to it and to the library's will. One night, Ilara stumbles upon a hidden chamber deep within the library, a place untouched by time. Here, she finds a collection of texts that had been sealed away for centuries, books that contain knowledge so forbidden that even the library's guardians had been afraid to read them. As she opens the first book, the air grows cold, and the walls seem to shift, revealing forgotten images of ancient rituals and dark practices. The book speaks of a powerful ancient force known as the heart of the library, a source of untold power that can grant its wielder immense strength, but at a terrible cost. Ilara is both terrified and captivated by the idea of the heart, but she knows that to seek it out is to embrace a fate even darker than the one she already faces. The library, it seems, is pushing her toward this path. The whispers grow more insistent, urging her to find the heart and unlock its secrets. But Ilara knows that to pursue it is to risk losing herself entirely. She must decide whether to continue her search for the heart or to leave it hidden where it belongs. Ilara's internal struggle intensifies as she contemplates the heart of the library. The whispers grow louder, urging her toward the dark path, promising power and knowledge beyond anything she could have imagined. But each whisper is like a thread pulling her closer to the abyss. As she walks through the library searching for answers, she feels a presence behind her, an unseen force that seems to follow her every move. It is as though the library itself is alive, breathing with her, reacting to her every thought. She can no longer tell if the library is guiding her or trapping her. In the depths of the library, she finds a hidden door, leading to a passage she had never seen before. The door is etched with symbols she has never encountered, but somehow, she knows what lies beyond it. The heart of the library is waiting for her. And though a part of her screams to turn away, another part of her, an insatiable hunger for knowledge, compels her to step forward. With a deep breath, Ilara opens the door. Beyond it lies a narrow, winding passage, lit by an eerie, otherworldly glow. The air is thick with the scent of ancient stone and forgotten time. As she ventures deeper into the passage, she can feel the weight of the library's history pressing down on her. Each step takes her closer to the heart of the library, and the whispers grow louder, more urgent, filling her mind with visions of untold power. Ilara knows that the heart is not just a source of knowledge, it is a force that can reshape the very fabric of reality itself. But as she reaches the end of the passage, she feels a sharp, cold breath on her neck. She turns to find herself face to face with a figure draped in shadow. The figure does not speak, but its presence is enough to make Alara's blood run cold. It is a guardian of the heart, a being of pure darkness, sent to protect the library's deepest secret. Alara's heart races as the figure steps forward, its form shifting like smoke. Alara stands face to face with the shadowy figure, her heart pounding in her chest. The figure, a being of darkness, radiates an almost tangible aura of malevolence, its form shifting like smoke. It moves forward, its every step sending a chill through the air, and Alara instinctively takes a step back. She realizes, with a dawning clarity, that this figure is not just a guardian of the heart, it is the embodiment of the very darkness she has been seeking to control. The library has created this guardian to test her resolve, to see if she is truly worthy of wielding the power of the heart. In that moment, Alara knows that she must confront the darkness within herself, the very fear that has held her back. She must face it, acknowledge it, and overcome it if she is to survive this trial. The figure steps forward, and without a word its shadowy form begins to encircle her, drawing closer, and Alara takes a deep breath, preparing for the battle ahead. The battle begins in silence, with Alara and the shadowy figure circling one another, each waiting for the other to make the first move. The whispers of the library echo in Alara's mind, urging her to act, to fight, to overcome the darkness that threatens to consume her. But Alara knows that this fight is not just with the guardian, it is with herself. The shadowy figure lashes out with tendrils of darkness, trying to envelop her, but Alara is quick, narrowly dodging the attack. Her body is fueled by adrenaline, her mind sharp as she remembers the lessons the library has taught her. The power of knowledge is hers to command, but only if she can conquer the fear that the library has awakened within her. With a cry, Alara summons the energy within her, calling upon the strength that lies within the very depths of the library. The figure recoils, momentarily thrown off balance, but it is far from defeated. Alara's powers surge as she taps into the knowledge she has gained from the library. The words of the ancient texts echo in her mind, guiding her movements as she prepares to strike at the heart of the shadowy figure. The darkness surrounding her grows more oppressive, and for a moment she feels the weight of the library's power threatening to crush her. But she refuses to give in. With a surge of energy, Alara channels the knowledge she has absorbed, focusing it into a brilliant burst of light. The light strikes the shadowy figure, causing it to scream in fury as it recoils. The darkness that has encased Alara's mind begins to dissipate, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, she feels the weight lift from her shoulders. The whispers fall silent, and in that moment, Alara realizes the true nature of the battle. This was never about defeating the Guardian, it was about conquering her own fears and doubts. The Guardian of Darkness stumbles back, its form flickering and wavering under the force of Alara's light. For a brief moment, it falters, as if unsure of how to proceed. Alara takes this opportunity to step forward, her movements steady and resolute. "I am no longer afraid," she declares, her voice steady, echoing through the passageway. With those words, she focuses all of her energy on the heart of the library, using the knowledge she has gained to seal the darkness within herself. The figure continues to resist, but Alara is unyielding. She reaches deep into the heart, unlocking its full potential, and with a final mighty burst of energy, the darkness is vanquished. The figure shudders, its form disintegrating into nothingness, and the air around Alara clears. She stands victorious, breathing heavily, but standing firm, knowing that she has overcome the darkness within and without. The library, once oppressive and full of whispers, is now silent, as if acknowledging her triumph. With the Guardian of Darkness vanquished, Alara stands in the now quiet passage, the weight of the library's power no longer bearing down on her. She looks around, the silence that has descended upon the library feeling almost unnatural after the chaos of the battle. The heart of the library pulses softly, its power now at her command, but Alara knows that she cannot control it alone. She realizes that the library was never just a place of knowledge. It was a test, a way for her to confront the very essence of who she is. She is not simply the library's keeper, she is its protector, its guardian, and she must learn to balance the power within it with the wisdom it offers. As Elara stands in the quiet aftermath of the battle, she feels a sense of peace settle within her. The whispers are gone, and for the first time in her life, she feels truly free. She knows that her journey is far from over, but she is no longer afraid to face whatever comes next. Elara sits in the heart of the library, surrounded by the vast sea of ancient knowledge that once seemed overwhelming. The weight of her previous trials now feels lighter, as if the library has allowed her a moment of reflection. The silence around her is no longer oppressive. It is peaceful. She realizes that the power of the heart of the library is not just a force to wield, but a responsibility to bear. In this quiet moment, Elara begins to understand that knowledge alone is not enough. True wisdom comes from understanding the balance between knowledge and peace. And peace. The library is not a place of endless conflict, but a sanctuary of stillness, and it is only through embracing this stillness that she can truly unlock its potential. As the hours pass, Elara meditates, letting the wisdom of the books flow through her, but she no longer seeks to control it. Instead, she allows herself to simply be a vessel, open to the guidance that the library offers. As Elara's meditation deepens, she feels a subtle shift in the air around her. The whispering that had once been a constant driving force now feels like a distant hum, no longer demanding, but gently guiding. She opens her eyes and looks around the library, seeing it in a new light. The books and scrolls, once overwhelming in their sheer volume, now seem like pieces of a larger puzzle, each one part of a greater truth. The knowledge within the library is not something to be mastered or controlled, but something to be understood and integrated. Elara realizes that the library, and the heart within it, is not a source of power for personal gain, but a tool for enlightenment. To embrace it is to embrace humility, patience, and compassion. It is a path not of domination, but of harmony. Elara understands now that her true role as the guardian of the library is not to hold its power, but to protect the wisdom it offers, ensuring that it is used for the greater good. Elara now understands that the path to enlightenment is not linear. It is a journey of continuous growth, with no final destination. As she walks through the library, she senses that the heart of the library is not just a physical object, but an expression of the wisdom contained within. It is not a source of power, but of connection. The more she learns, the more she realizes that enlightenment is not found in knowledge alone, but in the integration of that knowledge into the fabric of her being. Every step she takes through the library feels lighter, as if she is shedding layers of doubt, fear, and attachment. The once ominous halls now feel welcoming, a place where she is no longer burdened by the weight of her past decisions. Elara's heart opens to the library, and she feels a deep sense of peace, knowing that the journey will never truly end. It is the process of learning, understanding, and growing that defines the path, not the destination. One day, as Elara continues her journey through the library, she comes upon a hidden alcove, a space she had never noticed before. In the center of the alcove is a simple stone pedestal, and upon it rests a single, unmarked book. Elara feels a sense of calm curiosity as she approaches it. She hesitates for a moment, then reaches out to touch the book. As her fingers brush against its cover, she is flooded with a profound sense of understanding. The book does not contain new knowledge or secrets, rather it offers a single simple truth, the nature of impermanence. The library, the heart, and even Elara herself are all part of a cycle of constant change. She understands now that true wisdom lies not in clinging to the past, but in embracing the ever-changing flow of life. The realization fills her with a sense of deep peace. She is not meant to hold on to the knowledge of the library forever, but to share it, to pass it on, and to let it go when the time comes. Elara now stands at the threshold of the library, ready to take her place not as its keeper, but as its guide. She has learned the true nature of the library, that it is not a place to hoard knowledge, but a sanctuary for those who seek to understand themselves. Her time within the walls of the library has come to an end, but the lessons she has learned will stay with her forever. As she steps outside, she is greeted by the open sky, the vast world beyond the library's walls. For the first time, Elara feels truly free. She no longer carries the weight of knowledge or the burden of power. Instead, she carries a deep sense of peace, knowing that the journey she has been on is not one of possession, but of release. The library's wisdom is not hers to own, but to share. And as Elara walks forward into the world, she knows that the path of enlightenment is not about finding answers, but about embracing the questions with an open heart. Elara stands at the entrance of the library once more, but this time it feels different. The weight of the library's knowledge no longer presses upon her. Instead, it feels like a part of her, woven into the fabric of her being. She gazes at the library, knowing that she has done what was asked of her and more. She has understood the true purpose of the heart and the wisdom within. It was never about mastery or control. It was about balance, about learning to live with the ebb and flow of knowledge and impermanence. The library is not a place to possess, but to understand and share with others. The whispers that once consumed her have quieted, leaving only the peaceful hum of existence. As Elara takes one final glance at the library, she feels a deep sense of fulfillment. She is ready to move forward, not as the keeper of knowledge, but as a humble guide to those who will walk the path of learning after her. Elara steps out of the library, leaving the grand hall behind. The cool air of the outside world fills her lungs, a stark contrast to the heavy silence of the library's halls. It is as though she is breathing for the first time, truly alive in a way she never was before. As she walks through the open fields, the path ahead is clear, but her heart is full of questions. The journey is never truly over, she knows that now. The library was only a part of her path, and now she is ready to discover the rest of the world. The knowledge she has gained, the wisdom passed down through generations, will guide her, but it is the heart's openness and her willingness to continue learning that will shape her future. Every step she takes feels like a step toward freedom. A freedom not from the library, but from the limitations she once placed on herself. She is no longer afraid to seek answers, knowing that the journey itself is the true destination. As Elara journeys through the world beyond the library, she encounters others who seek wisdom, who are lost in their own struggles. In these moments, she is not the keeper of the heart or the guardian of forbidden knowledge. She is simply a guide. She offers what she has learned, but never forces her wisdom upon them. The true value of knowledge, she has come to understand, lies not in its possession, but in its application. Elara listens more than she speaks, helping those she encounters find their own path. In the faces of those who seek her guidance, she sees echoes of her past self, the uncertainty, the fear, the longing for answers. And with each person she helps, Elara feels the weight of her former struggles lift, knowing that she has made a difference. The more she gives, the more she receives, for each encounter deepens her understanding of the world and her place in it. Years pass, and Elara's journey takes her across lands, both familiar and foreign. She has learned to embrace the impermanence of life, knowing that each moment is fleeting and precious. She has come to understand that wisdom is not something to be stored away, but something to be shared, spread, and passed on. Wherever she goes, she leaves behind not just the lessons of the library, but the lessons of her own life. She has become a teacher, not of knowledge alone, but of understanding, compassion, and acceptance. The library's wisdom flows through her, but she is no longer bound by it. It has become a part of her, not a force that defines her, but a source of strength that she carries with her. She walks not ahead of others, but beside them, each of them on their own journey, and together they seek the same truths. In this shared journey, Elara finds peace. She no longer seeks answers because she has learned that the search itself is what matters most. One day, as Elara stands overlooking a quiet valley at sunset, she reflects on the path she has traveled. The road was long, filled with challenges, but also with moments of profound beauty. She has learned that enlightenment is not a destination, but a journey, one that stretches beyond time, beyond the walls of the library. It is a journey of growth, of learning, and of letting go. In this moment, Ilara realizes that the true heart of the library was never the book or the knowledge it held, but the wisdom she has gained through experience and through embracing the impermanence of life. The sunset before her is beautiful, but fleeting, and she understands now that it is this very fleeting nature that gives it meaning. She smiles softly, knowing that her journey is far from over, but she is at peace. The world is vast, and she is ready to continue walking its endless road, sharing what she has learned, and living in the moment.